Welcome to Focus on Filmmaking. I'm your host, Mike Kaspar, and we're joined today by Clay Berryhill. He is the executive producer, and writer of a wonderful documentary film called 133, The Road to Laguna. Clay, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks. Great to be here.
As well. Thank you for being here.
Sure.
I wanted to talk to you because this film captures one of the seminal moments in the recent history of Laguna Beach, a concert that took place at the Laguna Beach Irvine Bowl and featured a lot of local artists.
Right.
Let's talk a little bit about your history here in Laguna Beach. You've been here for how long?
I've been here since 1959.
Okay.
Born in Pasadena in 54. My parents rolled into town and never left in 1959. It's been a while.
Yeah.
And I went through all the schools here and know everybody from high school. We're a pretty tight-knit group. And I've been a music lover my whole life, and I've been following the guys that ended up in 133 as a fan, as opposed to somebody that's in music as well. And it's been a great ride, though. I wouldn't have grown up anywhere else.
Laguna is a great place. We all know the weather, the setting, the people, the artist community, the history of art in this community is legendary.
Really is. And whether the art is music or you're an artist, I have so many friends that are artists at the Festival of Arts or the Sawdust that I love going there and just looking around. You get inspired. Musically, same thing. Any bar up and down the coast here, on any given night, you'll find somebody where you'll stop and go, wow, they're good. What are they doing in this little town? I think it's being around the ocean, you get inspired by the energy coming from that. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but it's there and it's wonderful.
Yeah, it really is, and it's a place that I lived briefly in Laguna Beach, have spent a lot of time here, and you're absolutely right. Not only is it what you described, but the openness of the people who live in this community, their willingness to embrace art, embrace music, embrace so much, really makes it a great place. Well, we talked about your history, your personal history of being in Laguna Beach. Over this period of time since you've been here, it sounds like you've developed relationships with a lot of different musicians over these many years. Let's talk a little bit about those people that you've gotten to know, how they tie in to the documentary 133, and let's go from there.
Sure.
Let's talk about some of the people you've gotten to know.
Well, one of the seminal groups from Laguna Beach is called Honk, a band called Honk. And those are three primary people in that band: Richard Steckel, Steve Wood, and Beth Wood, or Steve Wood and Beth Wood are both in my band. Our band, I should say, 133. And I've been following them since the early 70s. Unreal songwriters and singers, performers. They've played with some of the biggest bands in the world. You know, in the beginning, I was going around to these musicians, I'll name in a minute, saying, give me your bio. So Steve started with Live Aid, and I said, oh, we're done there. He happened to be the music director for Kenny Loggins. I think he scored 27 films with McGilvery Freeman.
Yeah.
And so he's an accomplice. And I started this project. I said, who's going to produce it? It's one thing for me to say, okay, let's form a band. So I went to Steve. He initially said, I'm not sure. It doesn't sound that fun. Called me back the next day, and he said, you know what? I'm afraid if I don't do it, somebody will, and they'll do a bad job. So I'm in. So he was guy number one.
Was your focus always Laguna Beach musicians? Was that always what you wanted? Is that one of the reasons? By the way, let's just point this out. 133 relates to what?
The 133 highway coming in Laguna.
There you go.
Laguna Canyon Road. That was a perfect name. I started messing around with some other things, but I kept coming to that.
Yeah. So you've got Steve Wood involved. Now he's going to bring in who? His wife, Beth? Who else?
I brought Beth, and he said, I'm not sure. And I said, well, let me ask her. And she said, sure. So Beth Wood, who's an amazing singer-songwriter, beautiful voice. She was responsible in some way for Jackson Browne's appearance. Back in the day, she sang on his demos. Jason Fetty, who's a British rocker, pop rock guy. He's a great guy. Started playing around here on a shoestring. He moved here from Vegas, getting away from some personal demons, ended up playing in Laguna coffee shops. And I saw him, and I invited him over to my house. At one point, I had a different studio. He sang a song with Beth Wood that I'd written, that connected them, me not having any idea that 10 years later we'd become a band. So Jason Fetty's another guy. Nick has a band called Common Sense, a reggae band, about as good as you'll hear. He and I used to have coffees at a local coffee spot called John Paul's. So I ran this idea by him. Hey, I've got some time. I sold the company. I'm kind of sitting on my hands now. What am I going to do? So I started noodling this idea with him. He said, it's great. I'll do it. So Nick's in. There's a band locally called Missiles of October. Their whole band happens to be in 133 now. They're our rhythm section. They're our lead guitarist, and one of our best singers, Paul Peterson, is the head of Missiles of October. So I've got Paul, we've got Nick, we've got Jason, Steve, and Beth, 5 lead vocalists, this band. We've got probably 9 writers, including myself. And so it's been a real blast.
So at what point did you say, you know what, not just do I want these musicians to gather, to begin to put together music and see what happens, at what point did you put a movie camera into the mix? What point did you make the decision, you know, I want to document what's happening?
Well, I built this recording studio, and it was way too good for me. It was designed by professionals at the Don Henley's and Tom Petty's studios. So I've got all these lovely friends that are great musicians. I'm going to go out to them and ask them, would they be interested in recording for free? I want to use a studio. And so I went to them, and they were all saying, yes, I'll do it for free, for sure. I thought, wait a minute, this is going to be too good. Somebody at some point said, you should document this. I can't remember who it was. So the idea got in my head, and I said, okay, this is going to be great. I'm going to make a movie. Don't know what it's going to be about. I'm just going to document everything we do for a year. And I went to Chapman and went to their film school. I was asking somebody, do we have a up-and-coming student that would be good to be a cinematographer? I kind of started hitting brick walls there, and so I happened to have a friend over one day, and I mentioned what I wanted to do, because I know this is the guy for you. His name's Erik Spicard, and Erik is a fabulous cameraman. He's also an editor. He's also a director, so he's a one-man band kind of person I hired to make this thing come to life.
I'm just curious, the reaction of the people in the room, the musicians. Suddenly somebody shows up with a camera. I assume you had been working with him before the camera came into the picture. So was there embracing? Were they interested in it? What was the reaction of the people in the studio?
Well, it was interesting. I had a meeting in my house, and I hadn't shown them the recording studio yet. I had everybody come up, and I didn't tell them before they got there that we were going to film. And so it's not that meeting's on film, that first meeting, but you don't see me saying, by the way, I'm going to film this and see if we can do something with it. Because they all kind of sat there like, what? What am I wearing and all this stuff. So the way the band reacted, though, was kind of indifferently. I think they liked the idea of getting the publicity, but they couldn't see how it was going to work.
Well, part of it is that these are musicians who have been playing around for a while. They're used to being in the spotlight. I can imagine adding a camera to that mix wasn't probably a very big deal. I mean, other than the private moments that they may not want on film, but otherwise I think they're probably pretty comfortable. They seem to be very comfortable around the camera.
Yeah, it turned out to be great. They are, and then some of the players were actually offered TV roles and other things not related to this. I mean, there's some real charisma in this band.
Yeah.
We just kind of accidentally stepped into it. You know, I knew them all, but not real well. As we started to meet and things unfolded, there's certain things that came up that cracked me up and I thought were great.
So into the mix, because you had mentioned Steve Wood and his relationship with Kenny Loggins. He is part of some of these sessions or one of these sessions. I'm not exactly sure how many times he joined in.
We went and visited Kenny. Steve and I hired a van. We drove up there with all this gear, camera gear, up in Santa Monica.
Okay.
And Kenny and Steve performed a song in that interview that they'd written together. And it was perfect. And they couldn't remember the lyrics, so they both had their phones out. They were all like this.
Steve Wood came into my band as a keyboard player.
This is an outstanding show.
Yeah. This is the song that we wrote for Leap of Faith. In the moment I first saw. Steve gradually became my MD, my music director.
It was musical custodian.
Musical custodian. Steve and I wrote If You Believe and Sweet Reunion. Come on in, I've been expecting you. Sweet reunion. I was impressed right from the beginning with the caliber of musicians that I found in Laguna Beach.
I do want to let people know, by the way, we're speaking with Clay Berryhill. He is the executive producer and writer of the documentary film 133, The Road to Laguna. And let's move forward a little bit in the story here in terms of the concert and how that came about.
As this film started to develop, I thought a natural end would be to see these guys be whipped into shape and let's have a big concert somewhere. Well, about that time, I was friends with Tyler Russell, who was the CEO and founder of 93.5 FM, which has now evolved into something else, 104.7 FM. So they're still around, still a great station for Laguna, a lot of local music. But Tyler was trying to launch his brand here in Laguna. They're a nonprofit station, as they still are. And he reached out to some famous bands to do a concert here to raise some money for his station. And so I'd help them. When he first got to town, I'd take him to restaurants, introducing him to people and all sorts of stuff. He said, hey, I've got an idea. We're going to get the Beach Boys to play. I'm trying to, at the Irvine Bowl. Would you be interested in opening for them? I go, shoot, yes. So it was at the Irvine Bowl. And the funny thing was, we had never played live before. We knew we were going to play for the Beach Boys about a month away. This thing turned around pretty quickly. And so we had a live rehearsal, we called it, at the Cliff. And it was so bad. Nick I's ukulele was out of tune, and he was playing songs backwards, and everybody was messed up. Here I'm thinking, God, we got to be on stage with the Beach Boys in a month. So we got to rehearsing really deeply and seriously after that. And when it came time for the day, it was perfect. We opened. We shot footage in the green room getting ready for it. We practiced some songs, and then we went on stage, and the crowd went wild.
My name's Clay Berryhill. Anybody here from Laguna Beach, California? Yeah! Woo! Speaking of Laguna Beach, California, I'm introducing now the band 133, all from Laguna Beach, playing live in all the bars up and down the coast. So put your hands together for the best band that never was, that now is, 133.
Pretty little girl, here's my thing. Whatever you tell me, I will believe. I will believe anything you say, and as long as you promise not to walk away. I don't keep no tab on you, as long as you tell me you'll be true. Pretty little girl, here's my thing. Whatever you tell me, I will believe.
We played 6 songs off our EP.
Oh, it's a good day. Open your eyes. Yeah, it's a good day. Say the reasons why.
And everyone got a standing ovation. I got on stage and played one of the songs. I was just finished playing my song. I walked off stage. The Beach Boys manager was going, you guys need to get off stage. You're past your time. We're supposed to have a half hour. I think we went 40 minutes. And I said, does it look through this curtain. I opened it. He goes, does it look like these guys want these guys to get off stage? No way. So I shut the curtain. That was the end of that. But that's how it came about. And it was just a great night for Laguna.
Now, the concert's done. Let's talk about the film.
Where we're at with the film is we're done filming. We've got 300 hours of film, so we had a lot of editing, a lot of setting stuff on the side. But now we're in the music clearing stage where we're paying for songs that are not ours, they're written. So we're going through that, and we'll see what happens. The original plan was show the movie, do music festivals and wherever, have the band, after the movie, the band come out and play a soundtrack live. A smaller version of that is right here at the Irvine Bowl. And the movie ends with us playing there. So when the movie comes out, I want to take it back there, show the film in the bowl,
Yeah.
then have the band come out and play the music live. That kind of scenario is of interest to us.
What I'm hearing, Clay Berryhill, from you is that you want all this to be to a point where you can get it out for people to see it.
Yeah.
But it sounds like the satisfaction, the personal satisfaction that you've gotten from working on this project, bonding with the musicians, being a part of this, sounds like this has been a very rewarding experience for you.
Oh yeah, it's more than I could have ever dreamed of. And then to be able to get to a point where I can actually go out and get my buddies who are the best musicians I know together in a band, it doesn't get any better than that. We perform once a month to keep the band live and keep us going. And then after that, once the film starts, it's released, who knows where it'll take us.
Yeah. Well, that sense of community, the sense of musicianship, sense of camaraderie comes across in this conversation. And I look forward to seeing the band locally, by the way. Locally, where do you play when you play?
We play at Ivan's house, which is part of Mozambique Club. Mozambique has been our home base since we formed as a band. We play the first Wednesdays of every month. So you can go there and dance, and it's a great place. So first Wednesday of every month, 1:33.
Great. Clay Berryhill, thank you
you.
very much for your time today. Thank you for the film 133, The Road to Laguna. Anyone listening to our conversation or watching our conversation, Mozambique's first Wednesday of the month, you can check it out. And I hope you'll come back and join us again on Focus on Filmmaking.